Hey guys, welcome back. This is the last episode in our stack component series within the third person shooter series. So we want to create another function called initialize stats. Initialize stats. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get our base stats variable, and we want to get the keys, plug this up. This is going to be really short. Now let's get a for each loop. Connect this here. Now from the array elements, we need to plug that up to our set current stat value function. So let's get our set current stat value function. Plug it up here. The array element will be this. Next, we're going to get our base stats, and we want to do a find. We want to find the array elements and return the base value. So split the struct bin and connect the base value. In the event graph, we're going to hold P on the keyboard and left click to create a begin play. And we're going to call our function initialize stats. Hit compile and save. Right, so now what we're going to do is set up our widget. So in our widgets folder, in our stat bar, the first thing that we're going to do is add a size box. So head to the panel section and get our size box. And the size is going to be 256 by 16. We're going to set the float from the size of the screen from full screen to desired, so you can see the exact size of the size box that we specify here. Now what we need to do is add an overlay. I guess an overlay would be fine. Yeah, an overlay will be fine. So let's add an overlay, and next we want to add a progress bar and duplicate it. So the first one is going to be called PB for progress bar back. And the other one is going to be PB front. So both of these will need to be set to fully horizontal and fully vertical. So I'm going to hide this one, and for the back, we want to set the style background image to black. I'm going to set the alpha to 0.5. Let's see, the fill, color, and opacity. I'm going to just increment this percentage so we can see the color. And I'm going to set the color to white. All right, so I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to leave it at 0. Next, let's see. We're not setting any image or anything here. For the progress bar front, we're going to set that back to visible. And the background image, the tint, the alpha is going to be 0. And I'm going to slide this again to see the color. And I'm going to set the color to, let's say, red. Yeah, red is good. Right. Now we're going to create a macro to handle the transition between when you're getting damage from one progress bar to the next. So I'm going to create this macro, new macro. We're going to call this lerp progress. Okay. Now this is going to be really complicated, so I need you guys to take your time and follow along. We are going to create an input of type execution pin. I'm going to rename this to execute. Now we need to add another one. This one is going to be of type float curve, I believe it's called. Yeah, float curve. curved float object reference. I'm going to rename this to curve. We want to add another input of type boolean. I want to say forward. I want to name this to forward. Right, so now first thing I'm going to do is add a sequence. Connect it here. And from forward, we're going to add a select node. This one. And we want to select between two values. So let's right click, search for assign, call this macro, the variable. We need to give this variable, give this node a variable type. Let's replace this, let's delete this, and we're going to get a select float. We want it to be float, so connect this to the value and connect this up to then 0. Now next we want to get a local float. Let's see. Yeah, so local float double precision. I'm gonna connect that to the variable. I'm gonna add a reroute pin here because we're gonna be using this again. The float for A, it's going to be 1. For B, it's going to be -1. We're going to duplicate this select float and connect this to forward again. And from the curve, we want to say get time range. So the minimum time will be A, the maximum time will be B. Ensure to save your work. From then 0 here, we're going to add a do once. And connect this up like so. I'm trying my best to keep it neat because it's going to get really messy. So from here, from the return value here, we want to connect this to variable again. Actually, we need to connect this to value. Okay, my bad. We're going to delete this from here. The local floats is going to be connected to variable. So we want to multiply this float by the world delta seconds. So let's get world delta seconds. Connect this here. Create a reroute pin. I'm simply going to move this down to keep things neat. Okay. I'm going to create a reroute pin here. Sorry if I'm being really extremely neat about this, but I need to be. I'm going to delete this. Reroute pin here, connect this directly. Alright, so let's move on. So we want to multiply this by the world delta seconds, and then we want to add that value. Connect this to the second option, and the value that we want to add is this local float. Next, what we want to do is add a delay of duration 0. And from that delay, we want to call another assign node. So I'm going to duplicate that, connect this here. From the local float, this will be the variable. And the value is going to be this added value here. just going to straighten all of these pins. All right, now we want to get the curve float again. So I'm going to add a reroute pin here, drag this way, add another one. And we want to say get float value. So the float value is also, the in time is also going to be the local float. Like this here. Next, we want to add a branch, connect it to the assign, and we want to check if the float value is not equal to. I want to duplicate this local float to the local float. So if the curve value is not equal to the local float value, and we're going to connect this to our branch. Now, where is our output? Right, so let's get our output here. And before we close off, we need to duplicate this assign again. Connect this here. Connect our local value as the variable. Our local float as the variable. And the value is going to be this value from the curve float, from the value from the float curve, the float value. All right. Then we want to add a sequence. This sequence is going to be on then one. We want to return. I'm simply going to call this then. So we'll remove the name as an output. From the do once that we have here, we want to drag this all the way down to the end and connect to the output. I'm simply going to add a reroute pin, keep things clean. And lastly, thank God, we want to connect this back to our delay. So I'm going to move this up just to get access to this pin. Then connect this here. And that is it for our macro. So this was really large. So I'm going to close this video off here, and I'll pick this up in the next one.